And welcome to Movie Night with Johnny Cinema. I'm your host, Johnny Cinema, and with me and not tied to a chair is Tobe DePalma.
Yeah, that was some fucked up stuff, Johnny. I was a little worried, but I survived.
You did it to yourself. You got to stand up for yourself and be a man.
You and Donnie need to squash this shit. I'm getting tired of being caught in the middle.
Oh, we'll squash it. His head in a fucking vice. That's how we're gonna fucking squash it.
I'm just tired of being like the bitch that's ping-ponging between you guys. I just want to co-host a show. I just want to talk about movies, and you guys have to make it all fucking high school.
All I gotta say is,
drama.
You don't want to be treated like a bitch. Maybe don't act like a bitch.
It's low. That's low, Johnny.
That's low. Let's talk about some other low things this week, because our movie topic this week is video game movies. Because of course, today, as the show drops, and actually last night was the premiere of Warcraft. Now, the history of video game movies it's kind of cloudy. It's not exactly the most. It's not things that people get too excited for. And I have mentioned several times on the show, I absolutely hate overdone CGI, so I don't give a fuck about this movie. But a lot of people do, because Warcraft is one of those things that actually helped us with population control for about 10 years because people weren't getting laid because they were in their mom's basements. But what are your thoughts on movies about video games in general?
Well, you're right. It is kind of a sketchy area. I mean, here's the thing. From what I've heard, people who are fans, and I guess it like actually caters specifically to that fandom of Warcraft, the movie's doing really well. I could care less because I never played that, so I'm not into it. I don't care. And it looks like a giant video game cutscene to me from the trailer. I would rather just play the fucking game. But
also, though, isn't it an MMO? So it's not like necessarily character and story based because you make your own characters. I'm wondering how you like when you look at something like Lord of the Rings that has set characters, and it's like this is a little different. Like, I don't know how and don't get me wrong, I kind of am not someone who should talk on this because I've never played the game because I like to fuck girls, and so I don't spend a lot of time in my mom's basement. I don't know what they do. I don't know. They go out and hunt elk and then level up. I don't know.
You have to collect all the pelts.
Of course.
It's about stockpiling pelts, and then from what I can tell, there's a clan of giant Shrek-looking motherfuckers that have really terrible underbites that need dental work.
I saw that. It's Shrek cousins.
Yeah,
we'll call them.
It's like Shrek's like fugly cousins. I mean, they've cousins have had sex at some point in Shrek line there.
I agree. But so anyway, it's been kind of, I feel like this is kind of the resurgence of the video game movie, because we had Warcraft. There was also Ratchet and Clank came out, which was kind of very under the radar. Like, you didn't get a lot of advertising, and I'd heard a lot of people talk about it. And one in particular, the video game podcast Zero Lives that we have on Black Coat Radio talked about the Ratchet and Clank movie a little bit, but I really didn't see a lot of advertising for it.
Yeah, it kind of snuck in.
It didn't get a lot of good reviews from what I heard. And then we got Michael Fassbender, who is in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, which I kind of am looking forward to, but that's predominantly just because of him, and I do like that game. But
right, and it's kind of a story-driven game, such as like something like an Uncharted that I think would go well with a film.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with video game movies, and this is what I think is like, how many hours does it take to usually beat a video game?
Well, it depends. I mean, like I remember, like one of my biggest things back in the day was I was obsessed, still am, with Final Fantasy VII, and you can log hundreds of hours in that game. And I remember one time I flew through it and beat it like in under 50. What up? But like you play something like an RPG or an MMO, like Skyrim, you will log your life in that game. Like, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. It's not like playing, I mean, the latest Tomb Raider, which, there's side quests or, whatever, like or Uncharted, which you could probably beat in a weekend. Or if not, like, I remember I was really excited for Lollipop Chainsaw. Like, I love that game. And that actually would be a pretty cool movie. You beat that in a day, like in one sitting. So some you beat quick, but I think something like Warcraft, that's long and involved. I mean, I don't know. I haven't played it, but that's not a quick thing.
Well, let's think about this for a little bit, though. You said the shortest one you still said it took you an entire day to beat.
Yeah, like that was my Saturday of my weekend, which is doing nothing but playing a game.
So let's break that down. Let's say it probably wasn't 24 hours. Let's say it was 14 hours.
Yeah, 10 to 14 is fair.
You got to poop, you got to eat, you got to get up. So my thought is, so we have this story arc that goes for 14 hours. Mm-hmm. Now, that's a short game. Now, we're trying to condense that into a 2-hour film. That there is why I think video game movies fail. Because I truly believe to make a good video game movie, you have to center on one game, and you have to make it a trilogy for the one game. And I'm not talking about, okay, we're going to make Super Mario Brothers, and
Yeah.
first one's going to be the first Mario, then the second one's going to be Mario 2, and the second one's going to be Mario 3. No, I'm saying Mario 1 would be 3 movies.
No, and see, you're right, because I remember going back to like Final Fantasy VII. I mean, come on, everybody knows about this. We can like spoil this, but like the whole big thing was, I remember when that first came out for PlayStation 1, it was like a 3-disc game, and the big thing at the end of the first disc was Eris died. Like the main character, Cloud. What? Like Cloud, the main character's like love interest, like it's killed, and it's like this big dramatic thing where the big bad like Sephiroth like kills her. And I remember I had logged a good 10 to 15 hours playing at that point, and crying because it's like I've been playing nonstop for a really long time, and I had this emotional attachment to these characters, and I was really into the story, and they just kill a character that I loved, and it's like, what the shit? But that was the end of Act 1 of the overall story. I mean, and you're talking, that was a good 15-ish, if not more, I don't remember exactly, maybe even 20 like hours of gameplay to get to that point. That's not going to carry weight if you boil that down for 35 or 40 minutes into a movie. That's not gonna carry as much weight.
Well, I don't think you'll have as much attachment to those characters, so it won't have as much of an impact when you lose them.
And I'm not saying Warcraft is that kind of thing. I'm just making a point.
No, but it's. I mean, I'll have to check it out to figure out whether or not it tells a good story, and maybe the fact that I didn't play the game, I might be able to walk in and just see it as a movie. But these movies are really they're made for people to play the game. Let's be serious,
right?
Like they didn't make these movies thinking, oh, this is going to be a property that's going to bring everyone in. They're looking for some casuals, but for the main part, they're trying to get video game fans.
Exactly,
and they're going to be the harshest on it. Same thing with superhero movies. Who's the harshest critics of a superhero movie? Superhero fans. Like if I don't know anything,
fans of the comics. Yeah.
There's been movies that I went and watched. Like, and don't get me wrong, this has been years ago, but when I saw the first Spawn movie that they made, it's not a great movie.
No, but it does have Michael J. White.
It does. She's a bad motherfucker. But when I first saw it, I was entertained by it, and I had fun with that movie. And it was like, that's so off from the comics. I'm like, I didn't read the comics, motherfucker. I don't care. So, but I think when you get into a property like Warcraft, that I don't think that's a property that a bunch of people are just going to flock to the theater to see without having a pre-notion of what the concept, what the storyline, and what it's all about.
Right.
So I think that's where you run into your issues where I have to please the fans of the series, and I don't think Hollywood really cares about that. And a good point is, we talk about some news that came out actually a couple weeks ago, is Disney took a look at Rogue One, and they have made the decision they want about 40% of that movie reshot. They felt it was too dark of a tone, and that they wanted to go lighter.
It's ridiculous. I mean,
let's think about this really, about what they're talking about. And this is the bottom line here with Disney, and you're going to know it as soon as I say it. This has nothing to do with it being a poor film in any way. This has to do with selling toys to children.
Exactly.
That's what it's about. Because if it's too dark, parents will not take their kids to see it. And, I mean,
They say okay. Now they say piggybacking off what you're saying. They're saying that it's like, I heard that it plays like a war film, which that's great. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Star Wars.
I know, but they said that it's like they want it to be a little more like more humor, a little more lighthearted to kind of fit with the Star Wars universe. But here's my whole argument for that: this isn't Episode 8. This isn't one of the Star Wars episodes. It's an offshoot. Like why can't the bridging like tangential stories have a different tone, be a different perspective, a different moment, I
mentioned that too, and when I had a discussion with a friend of mine, his argument towards that was the fact that it's supposed to be bridging the gap from the prequels until the original trilogy, and that's why Disney's like, we wanted to fix the same tone on it, but they're like, it plays like a war movie, because it is a war movie. That's what it is. And I totally agree with you that I think that the spin-offs should be given the opportunity to do their own thing, because when you set the precedent now and you're like, they have to follow the original trilogy, then when we get the Han Solo movie, it's going to be the same thing. You will not be able to do anything to make that character have any type of tragic backstory or any type of problems. It's going to be wit and fun and just...
I'm going to say it. How is that any different than re-editing so that Han doesn't shoot first? How is that any different? Because here's the thing. Empire got dark. The final battle in Jedi got a little dark and, Shakespearean and intense. Like, what's wrong? Why do we have to lighten it up? I doubt it's going to be fucking Saving Private Ryan. You know, it's
No.
still going to be a PG-13 sci-fi fantasy action movie.
And I think the thing is, everyone was so excited when they saw the first trailer because
I love that tone.
they said, "Oh wow, I really like the tone here because it's not what I expected." And I think Disney is seriously thinking about. I think when the bottom line comes to it, they're like, "Well, we need to be able to make merchandise because now these type of movies, especially owned by Disney, Disney is not just about making films. They're about the T-shirts.
Yeah.
They're about the toy lines.
It's an empire.
They're everything. You know, it's not one thing anymore, and they probably make just as much, if not more, money off of the toy line to these franchises than they do on the actual movie itself.
Marvel and DC are kind of in the same, you know, it's the same idea.
Right.
Just Disney is, I mean, come on, the juggernaut that Episode 7 was, it's almost like they have the bar set so high they're scared to take any risks. That's my perception. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, this is the perfect time to take risks.
Yeah, because again, you've got Episode 8 lined up. It's coming out.
And here's the thing. If we go to their strategy versus DC strategy, 7 came out and broke every record. Like, it made a bazillion dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Disney bought China and now owns it. They have fucking buy a continent money, sitting around from that movie. So it's established, and people are going to come to it. Does not matter if Episode 7 is a duck with a floppy dildo running around with a lightsaber, just fucking people up, fighting raccoons.
I want to see that.
It could happen. But what I'm saying is it could be complete garbage. But people are still going to go see it because that was so successful. Now, if we flip over to DC and see what DC did, they did something and revamped the Superman character, which was very polarizing when you came out. I know you really liked Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. I so much did not. But that's how it was. It was very polarizing. It wasn't a bunch of people saying, I love this movie. It was 50-50 to where some people were like, I love this movie, I hate this movie. Yeah. And then
you won some people over and lost some.
And then they went on and tried to do Justice League and did something, or not Justice League, I'm sorry, Batman versus Superman, and same thing where they're doing something a little different and people are hating it. Mm-hmm. To where they didn't come out and give everyone what they wanted first and then take the risk. Where I think Star Wars has that opportunity because they gave them everything they wanted in Episode 7. They're happy. They can take that chance of trying something different to see, and if they piss everyone off, they can just go back.
Yeah, because 7 was, I really like 7, but it was safe. That was the thing. Like, a lot of people were complaining is that it's the same movie redone, and they were like, this works, let's do this again. But that's also damage control from Episodes 1, 2, and 3.
No, absolutely, and that's the one thing I said when I saw it. I'm not a huge Star Wars guy in general, but that was my one critique of the film. I said it's very safe, and I think I said that when we reviewed it.
Yeah, you did.
But let's get back now to what we're talking about with video game movies.
I didn't really answer your question that you asked me earlier, speaking of that. Like, what do I think of video game movies? I think they have yet to live up to their potential because generally they're not good. They failed time and time again. But there's a few in there that I really like. Like, here's the thing. I love, and the second one is dog shit, but I love the first Silent Hill. Like, visually and tonally, I think it's beautiful and fascinating and, captures a lot of the essence of what I felt when I was playing the game, but in sort of like a more digestible, sit down and watch, not interactive storyline. It's not good, and I only ever saw the second one, and I skipped the other 5 or 6 that are out, but I still kind of enjoy, from a guilty pleasure level, the first Resident Evil. I'm not going to claim it's a good movie, but I still enjoy watching. It's like fast food. I know it's bad for me, but I enjoy watching it for some reason that I can't explain. It's Taco Bell.
Hey, LaserNet thing was pretty badass.
That was pretty cool. Now, I saw 2, which some people liked. I hated it, and I skipped 3, 4, 5, and 12, and however many other ones there are.
I don't even know the other.
But generally, I feel like I'm forgetting 1 or 2 other good ones. Like, every once in a while, I'm like, oh, that was a okay video game movie, but more often than not, the odds are stacked against them. They're not good. What's weird about Warcraft, and you mentioned Assassin's Creed, is there's a lot of money from what I can see on screen that's thrown at those movies. Those are big budgets, and from what I can tell, they look huge. For movies that are based on a property that generally doesn't seem to do that well, that's kind of a big risk. Now, I hear Warcraft is doing really well overseas, so maybe they're banking on international money even if it flops over here. It's just... And then, every once in a while, you'll have a sequel come out, and they're shit. Like, for instance, I said I like the first Silent Hill. The second one is, one of the worst movies ever, and it sucks because I kind of hoped that would become a franchise like Resident Evil did, because I like that first one. But they're just not... I think you're right. It's about the time that you invest in playing the game. But I still think that they can be done right. If there's some kind, it's like a code you got to crack to get that story right.
Well, let's just do a little test now. I'm going to name a video game movie, and you're going to give me a quick, like 2-second rating, 1 through 5, and I'm just going to
just star rating. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw it out, and if you haven't seen it, we'll just pass.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Right. Street Fighter.
You talking about the Van Damme Raul Julia one?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, 1 star.
Tekken.
Didn't see it.
Mortal Kombat.
First one.
Both as we'll do it as a series. So if there's multiple films, you have to rate them as a series.
Oh, I don't. Okay, no, that's not fair because the first one I'm gonna give 3 stars. The second one I'm gonna give half a star. It's the worst.
Well, let's go 2.5.
Okay, 2.5. We'll do 2.5 for the series.
All right, so 2.5.
Because I actually kind of did enjoy the first Mortal Kombat.
Prince of Persia.
I skipped that shit.
Max Payne.
Oh, that's a 1.5.
Blood Rain.
Skipped it. I didn't see it.
But you know who directed it?
Uwe Boll.
House of the Dead.
Oh my god! Now I saw that shit in theaters. 0 stars. 0, motherfucker.
All right.
Can I give 0, or do I have to at least give it?
No.
Okay.
0
Okay.
is a perfect answer.
Okay.
Double Dragon.
Oh my god! I so don't even remember that one.
Hold on one second. Homely, ugly.
Jeez. Okay. We're gonna throw 1 at that shit.
And the ever wonderful
I know what you're doing
Super
here.
Mario.
I was like, you were saving that one for last. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give it 2 because if you get drunk, that movie is ridiculously, terribly entertaining. It's like The Room of video game movies.
Perfect.
It's not good, but in terms of it's so bad I enjoy watching it because it's a train wreck. It's a 1-star movie, but it gets a bonus star.
It's fantastic. Mario, and Luigi Mario. Those are the names of the characters because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
I know.
But that concludes
and Bob, the late great Bob Hoskins.
Yes,
Oh.
that concludes our lightning round.
Okay, the lightning round.
Yeah, that because it was just ones off the top of my head. I'm sure there are many, many more video game movies that I skipped, but those were just the ones right off the top of my head. I'm like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this?
The problem is you like. I want to argue that you just went and listed the bad ones, but I'm like, shit, I'm having trouble listing the good ones because I think I've already mentioned the only ones that I consider decent.
Oh yeah, Doom.
Here's the thing. I didn't see it, but I got to give that one credit because I will watch anything that The Rock is in. Respect.
Let's put it this way. He even says Doom was terrible.
Well, if The Rock doesn't want me to like it, then I don't like it because I follow what he says because he's the fucking Rock. Dwayne's the man.
Thank you, Dwayne. In Dwayne we trust.
In Dwayne we do trust.
Yeah, I'd put him on the 20.
Absolutely.
But video game movies have not done well, ever. So it's interesting to see that they're going back to that well recently and really trying to pour more into it. Now, like you said, because of Michael Fassbender, we're interested in seeing Assassin's Creed, but I really don't care about that. But we have other ones that we didn't even mention. We got to go back and talk about Tomb Raider.
Oh Jesus! Now I saw both of those, and those were fucking terrible.
And they
terrible,
have a really, really good chance at making those a really good movie. And then we got some more horror based. We got Alone in the Dark, which was holy fucking bad.
That was fucking terrible.
And now, do we also throw in the category of movies that have video game elements, like a Wreck-It Ralph, that has a bunch of video game characters?
Or Pixels.
Pixels was a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wreck-It Ralph had moments. I think it was more of a nostalgia pop fest for anyone in their 30s.
Yeah, you know what was shit? Do you remember? And I wanted to like it so bad. The CG Final Fantasy movie way back in the day, the Spirits Within or whatever. Oh, that was the worst.
There are people that will argue that fact, but no, I was not a fan of it. I think it was, but you gotta have to give this for it. It was pretty revolutionary at its time as far as the effects for it.
Now, if you want to throw, I will agree with that. If you want to throw movies that have video game elements that I must still stand by and defend because they were my childhood, you got to talk about A, Cloak and Dagger, and B, the motherfucking Wizard. Remember that Fred Savage movie, The Wizard? The Power Glove?
It's so bad.
It's so bad. Here's the thing. Is it good? No, don't care. It's awesome.
And then we got the Hitman films. And,
and they just made a new sequel to that recently.
Yeah, so apparently they're doing somewhat well. But we were talking about other ones that have aspects of it. You got Scott Pilgrim, which I think was a very underrated movie.
Now that was
very solid.
That was my number one movie of that year. Mm-hmm. Of 2010, that was my favorite movie of that year.
But see, this is the thing. It's actually a comic book movie
Yeah,
that
it's just
inspired a video game.
gamey.
Well, it inspired a video game.
And then
It's done as a it's done as a
right.
video game.
And you've got like one like the Aaron Paul Need for Speed or whatever. Which
Now we talked about that when we first came out, and my point when I said I love him as an actor. I go, he's going to be terrible in this movie. This movie's going to suck.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, I kind of want to see it. Did you see it?
No. Would I watch it if it came on Netflix and I was too lazy to change the remote? Yeah, I would. I'm going to stand by one because I told you I was a big fan of Final Fantasy VII. They did a direct-to-video animated movie called Final Fantasy VII: The Advent Children.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. That's a winner.
I loved that. But,
No,
but here's the thing. That completely plays off of you having love for that.
That was a very specific audience.
Now, we had this piece of shit that came out back in the great cinematic year of 1999 that everybody forgets about, and it's a good thing they forget about. Do you remember Wing Commander? Based off of that video game? Freddie Prinze Jr., Brian Phillippe.
I never saw the movie, but I picture the cardboard cutout in my local video store.
Yeah, and that was about what the movie looked like.
Excellent.
It was the worst piece of dog shit ever. And okay, you mentioned earlier House of the Dead, and we talked about like Alone in the Dark. Uwe Boll, he does all these video games like In the Name of the King. Funding movies with Nazi gold apparently.
Wait, what is it? In the Name of the King? Is that a video game movie?
Yeah, it is a video game movie with Jason Statham.
Oh, I know of the movie. I just didn't know it was based on a video game.
It was based on a video game called In the Name of the King. It's like a dungeon siege. It's a dungeon siege tale. It's based on the dungeon siege games.
Oh, I never played that.
He adapted this video game into a movie called Postal. You're never going to get me to claim that it's a good movie, but holy shit, is it terribly, offensively, laugh out loud, oh my god, look at this, show it to your friends when you're drunk fun. It is, Postal is the epitome of a guilty pleasure for me. You can fucking hang my credentials on the wall, I don't care, I love it, it's terrible, I love it. It doesn't give a fuck. And then, then you've got stuff like, Tron Legacy, and, I mean, we're kind of digging the bottom of the well, video game movies at this point. That's
and there are other ones that went straight to video. Like I know there's been several like animated,
Dead or Alive. Dude, I remember loving the Street Fighter anime series way back in the day. That was actually cool. And Fatal Fury, like those.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about the what was it, the Legacy series for Mortal Kombat that was on YouTube?
Yeah, the web series. I never saw that, but
I saw a few episodes. It was pretty good. Like it was all right.
I remember seeing the proof of concept trailer that they did to kind of like try to get it off the ground, which just had a couple fight scenes, and then it became a web series off of that. And I remember thinking that trailer was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Now here's something interesting. Now let's kind of skip talking about video games that have turned into movies, and let's talk about video games we played that we think that would make great movies, and then we'll flip it back and talk about video games based on movies that sucked. Because there's a lot of those.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, first off, video games we think would be good movies. Actually, I confirm or deny, you may have read about it. I thought it was true. But one, I've been saying that would be a great movie or actually a better series for a long time. I thought I heard that Netflix or somebody's developing a Legend of Zelda series. I don't know if that was a hoax or if that was serious, but I always said that there is something untapped in there if that could be done right.
But Link doesn't talk.
But it's dangerous to go alone, take this.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, and I feel you're going to kill the series if you make him talk, because he's never talked in the game, and that's been kind of an ongoing theme with him. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can successfully, you have to be very talented to pull off a series of your main character not talking at all.
Right.
And make it interesting throughout an entire series. I don't think that that's something that would be terrible, but I see a lot of problems right away that I would normally see in video game movies, such as, like, I think it's almost near impossible with as ridiculous as a story as to make a good Mario movie. Okay,
and I agree that that's fair. I mean, I'm just going to briefly mention it because it's already been tried, and, I know it's a web series, and I guess they're continuing it, but I think there's potential for Mortal Kombat to still continue to be a thing. Yeah, I think there's a lot you can do with that, especially with how they've revived the video games. The story mode on, like, 9 and 10 is kind of amazing. I'm going to say I actually was a big fan of, I always wanted a Splatterhouse movie. That
could be interesting.
I think that could be cool, and I would also say, even though it works perfectly as a game, I'd totally watch a Lollipop Chainsaw movie, especially if James Gunn wrote it, like he did the game. It was, those could be a lot of fun. They pick Warcraft, I would have rather they done something with Skyrim.
Yeah, I think
Personally.
that would be fun. For me, if I'm like looking at games that I would love to make into movies, Metroid.
I was just about to say that, and I was like, I bet you're going to point that out. Metroid would be fucking perfect. I agree.
Metroid would be a fun movie experience. I think that could be something that could be very interesting.
And you gotta, I mean, I'm not trying to say that, but it is sort of like a popular thing right now, right? Deservingly so. But like, you've got a badass female protagonist too, to boot.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
like I think that actually would be pretty timely to do that right now.
No, I think that this is the time to do it if you're going to do it. On top of that, I think another one that would be a lot of fun.
She's kind of like a Ripley, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think another one that would be a lot of fun. I think it would be a great animated film, Donkey Kong Country. I think it would be a lot of fun. I can imagine Pixar doing Donkey Kong Country.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally see that.
I think that would be a lot of fun. Castlevania, I think, could be a fun movie.
Oh my god.
Devil May Cry.
Yep.
But like I say, like you can't just make like one. You have to like go balls deep and be like, we're gonna make a trilogy about this one story arc and don't try to do every game in the story arc of 3 movies. You want to try to just basically get the one thing. Like I want the end of the first movie to be his battle with the giant spider.
Okay, I agree. I can totally get behind the Castlevania thing. You know what would be? And I'm not gonna lie. I would kill to see this done, even though it's perfect in the video games. The Witcher series. That's one of my favorite series of video games, and I think that those would be awesome movies because the games are very, very cinematic.
Mm-hmm. That's another one. Actually, we did miss because it's a mobile game that came out this year. Angry Birds.
That was a movie? Yeah, you're right.
That was. It came out now.
Oh, Metal Gear Solid? That'd be a badass movie.
I think...
You don't think?
I do not think, and I'll tell you why. Amazing movies, or amazing games, and the stories are, I think, a little too fucking crazy for movies. Because, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with them, but they, like... Sometimes, just go out to one of your friends who's has nothing to do with Metal Gear, doesn't really understand Metal Gear, and just sit them down and explain the plot and watch their face.
You can't. But yeah, to be fair though, you can't really do the same thing with Final Fantasy. It's really tough.
Right. That's why I think those won't really translate as well.
Okay.
But I really think there would be a problem with that.
What about a Fallout or a BioShock or a Portal or a Mass Effect? Any of those? Those are pretty popular.
Mass Effect, maybe. I don't think Portal would make a good movie. I just don't think there's enough substance there to really have a good film that people are going to get behind. I'm looking for things that are going to do well to the masses and have people enjoy the idea behind it that are hardcore fans.
Here's the thing. Fuck all y'all. Give me money. I want to make it, or I want to see it, and I will buy every ticket so it makes a shit ton of money. You give me any option to turn a video game into a movie, you know what my pick's going to be. Motherfucking Bad Dudes.
I think they did that already.
Bad Dudes? It was called Bad Boys.
Yeah. No.
Mike Lowry. But no, come on, dude. Bad Dudes was... Bad Dudes was
that was
the
shit. Basically the poor man's final fight, or actually, no, it was the poor man's Double Dragon is what it was.
You're right.
But
it was way better.
the president's been kidnapped. Are you bad enough? Or no, it's like, are you a bad enough dude?
And don't when you save him at the end, he buys you a cheeseburger?
Yeah, he offers you cheeseburgers. Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
But here's the thing: do that in sort of like a adult comedy, like 21 Jump Street, Seth Rogen type style.
No. That's not the style you do it in. You do it like fucking
like a Michael Bay movie,
like Fury. What is it? Kung Fury.
Kung Fury. Yeah.
That's how you make that movie.
Black Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
Go all the way out.
Bad Dudes.
And they need to say that like 15 times in the movie.
Yeah, and it's got to be said like Murtaugh. Riggs.
Who the fuck are you? Just some bad dudes.
Okay, here's the thing. Fund that now.
Oh yeah, let's Kickstarter's up tonight.
Okay, now you were talking about video games that were based off of movies. I can't think of a good one. Well, there's the Street Fighter.
There's one.
There's Street Fighter. It's like funny because Street Fighter was a video game inspired a movie, and then they made a video game out of the movie.
Oh,
remember that?
Street Fighter the movie, the game.
Yeah,
that's what it was called.
Yeah, and it's the worst thing ever.
Oh, it's totally
terrible. They were trying the Mortal Kombat thing where they digitized everybody, and it was Van Damme fighting Raul Julia, and you're just like, this is not cool.
This is not a good game at all. But just think about it. Go even back, like Back to the Future, which should be a fucking badass game.
Yeah, why?
Awful.
Yeah, how do you fuck that up?
LJN? LGN fucked them all up. They were terrible. But I'll tell you, one recent one that was really good, Alien Isolation. And it's not really based. It's based off a movie franchise.
I'll give you that. That game,
It's
honestly, outside of Silent Hill, I think that's the only game I've seen outside of a Silent Hill, or maybe the first Resident Evil, that actually scared the shit out of me playing it.
That is one of the first video games based on a movie franchise that I would like to see that storyline wrapped into the actual movie.
Yeah, because that was you're talking about, like, how Rogue One bridges the movies, like, in the same way, kind of perfectly.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's if you haven't played it, go out and play it. It's such a good game.
With the lights out and the sound up, it is terrifying.
Mm-hmm. But you look in and did you ever play Roger Rabbit as a kid?
Oh my god, I didn't even know that was a game.
It was terrible. It's awful. It's probably the worst driving mechanics in the history of video games.
You know what game I really remember liking on Super Nintendo? The video game of The Lion King. That one was cool. And Aladdin. There was something about the Disney movies where they made pretty cool video games.
They did all right with those. One that's getting ready to come out that has a lot of hype behind it and people are wondering about is, and it was back in the 80s and it did not do so well. I loved it because of who I am. Friday the 13th, the game, is getting ready to come out. And
that needs to be amazing.
I have my doubts. And the reason I have my doubts on it, don't get me wrong, I love the concept. The concept is you're going to have, I think, 4 counselors running around the camp, and then another player is going to play Jason. And your goal is to get either fix the phone so you can call the police, or fix the car so you can drive out of there, all while trying not to get murdered by Jason. Now,
and if you're Jason, your goal is to kill everybody.
Right,
dead.
and we've seen limited gameplay from it, but it's looking pretty good. So people are excited to finally get the game they want. But here's the problem. It's all Kickstarter based, so they're trying to make their goals, and they are nowhere even close to the goal they need to have a single player game. So at this point,
it's not going to be MMO.
Like, I bought the game, and so I own it, and as soon as it comes out, I'm going to get the download key for it, but it's all going to be 100% multiplayer, and as of lately, that's not doing well. And I know what people are thinking, well, that's where the kids are going now. Yes, to a point, but here's the thing. First of all, I don't really have 5 friends that I play on video games with online. I don't play online video games. So now I can't even sit in my home and be like, I want to practice, so I don't get, because my biggest problem with online video games, because I'm such a casual gamer, I'm a movie guy, but I'm such a casual gamer that I go online and there's these kids that do nothing but that, and I play for like 6 seconds and getting screamed at by this 11-year-old in fucking Utah who fucking has been playing all day, and I don't get a chance to actually enjoy the game.
Who can Call of Duty the shit out of everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. And not to mention that, you have such a problem with people hacking and fucking up the game. And everyone, if you go to their Facebook page and leave every comment they want, all people really want for this game is single player. That's all they want. And,
so
I don't even think they're talking about a campaign mode, because the backer Kickstarter goal set, because they've already made their initial goal, but now they have add-on goals. Right. So you have to make so much money, and I don't even think the game made $1 million. So I think their initial goal was like 800,000 to make the game, and I think they're around close to $1 million right now. But the goal to get a singles player game is at near $2 million. And so it's not even close. And the game's supposed to be coming out in October. So there's pretty much a 0% chance that they're going to make that, because it's kind of lost steam as far as people that were going to donate it. Because if you were going to donate, you probably know about this game by now. So, and I don't think, for me, I don't get me wrong, I love a story mode, but I'm not even talking about that. All I want to do is put that game on and play against bots, and like be Jason and have counselor bots, or just be a counselor and have a Jason bots.
Level, and
that's what I want, so I don't have to play with other people.
Well, here's the thing, like, online play, there's something about, like, interacting, like, you can play with your friends and strangers or whatever, like, when you're not even there in tournaments, like, you don't have to be in the same room physically. That's awesome. Like, that's part of, like, the fun part of, like, a Mortal Kombat or an Injustice or something. But the thing that we were talking about earlier that I love about that is, you can get online and fight and play Mortal Kombat and everybody, like, all over the world, but the story mode is pretty rad, and you can unlock things, and, like, even if online play is a big thing, I still like playing the story mode. Like, I remember when I got Black Ops 2, that is really fun to play online, but I really like playing the story mode, and just sort of, like, single player, going through, like, it's like playing and experiencing a movie to me. As opposed to, like, fighting with your friends or, whatever. That seems more like a game to me. When I'm playing the story mode, I feel like I'm playing a movie. Like you, I'm a movie guy. So I kind of have trouble getting into games that don't have that. I don't mind the online interactive element. It's awesome, but I sometimes want to just, digest a good story and interact with it. And that's part of what I like about video games is the more cinematic they get. It's like you're interacting with a movie, with a storyline that is unfolding over a longer arc, just like a TV show. TV shows can cram more things in storylines than a movie. A video game can do even more, and you're interacting the whole time. That's a cool thing. I don't. There's no way that should not have a single player story mode.
Right, and you're looking at the fact you're making a video game based on an extremely popular, known movie franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what's to say that the people that buy this game because they're excited about it, there's a good chance they're not hardcore gamers. They may just be buying this game because I really want to play a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, because they're like a Friday fan.
Yeah, and so they're gonna buy that, and then they're gonna realize, okay, now I've paid for the game, and then they realize, oh shit, now I have to sign up for either Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus so I can pay to play online.
Yeah, and again, against people that are just going to kill you and be like, okay, I have to get really good for me to just have an okay time playing this.
And there goes the fun. And now also look at the idea of how long is it going to be until people just are fed up with this game and they stop going on, and then they just get rid of the servers.
Yeah, it's like a dead game, or it's like only for like an elitist, tiny little faction.
Yeah, so imagine if they start just shutting down servers because it's not worth the cost of people playing because no one's playing this game anymore. So now you've backed this game, you own this game, and you can even play it if you want to.
Yeah.
And so I just think Kickstarter games, I'm all about supporting people, and I think it's a great cause, but I seriously thought that it should have been built in to be like, this is number one priority right now is to make sure, and even if the story mode is something you do for extra, because they've been doing a lot of extra skin for all this stuff, but I think the idea that it should have always been put in that we're going to have an offline mode that's the same as our regular mode, but you can play against bots. That should have always been in the plans.
Oh no, I totally agree. One thing I was going to ask you, not to change topics on that, but would you consider things like the Transformers and the Ninja Turtle games, like those are kind of based on I know, it was originally comics, but I kind of feel like those were based on the cartoons. I know it's not based on the movies, but those are pretty good. That might be skirting a line because it's not a movie. What's your thoughts on some of those?
I think anything that crosses mediums to where it was something else before it was a video game.
Yeah, because I thought
I think that qualifies.
Now, not every entry, but a lot of the Transformers and Turtle games were really good and very successful. I think are pretty.
Tell you what, it wasn't a lot of the Batman games until the most recent ones.
Yeah, the Arkham ones. Oh my god, the Arkham ones are fucking great.
But go back and play Batman Forever. That's one of the most frustrating, worst games ever created. I still am on that first level where you're trying to find where you drop down and no one ever tells you, or you're supposed to shoot that little a grappling hook straight up and go right up, and it never tells you how to do it, and you do it by accident every time.
Yep.
And you do it by accident, so you start going up and you hit a button and you fall. And you're just, what the fuck did I do? And you can't figure out how to fix it, and you can't do it again. It's ridiculous.
Well, I know one that you can probably talk about at great length that apparently they're still doing DLC for. You seem to mention that there was stuff going on with the Rambo game.
Holy shit. So, I even think it was on it's not even on PS4, it's on PS3 and Xbox 360, but they did a Rambo game. And first of all, when I first think about it, I'm like, holy shit, a Rambo game, that sounds fucking awesome. It's fucking terrible. The idea of it, and excuse me for the concept they did of this, but it's, where you have those games and you have the cursor and you just basically move the cursor around and fire at things?
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a fucking shooting gallery game, which is awful.
What?
And I hear I'd never played it, but I saw a lot of things from it, and sometimes I'll sit there and I'll watch story modes of games in the background when I'm doing stuff, and it was awful. But just recently this year, they had a freaking DLC for that, which the DLC sounds awesome, and I kind of want a movie about that. It was Rambo during Vietnam in Baker Team, which we don't know anything about that shit. And I thought that would have been a fantastic idea. And Rambo as a game sounds like it would be just a lot of fun. I'm sorry, we one thing we forgot when we were talking about games we want turned into movies. Contra, motherfucker, Contra.
You're goddamn right.
I want Contra, but this is how you're gonna have to do it, because it's gonna have to be partially CGI. But with real actors. I want a 1985 Stallone and a 1985 Schwarzenegger to star in Contra. That's what I want, and that's what I need.
Well, after seeing Civil War, how they made a young Robert Downey Jr., I feel like it could happen.
We're getting close, and that's where I want tech. That's where I will feel we were at the peak of technology. If you can give me those two young actors fighting alien forces, or
Whether they're
whatever.
alive or not.
It doesn't even matter. I don't even care.
You know what? I'm trying to think if they had a really good one. I really remember loving the PC game Alien vs. Predator, but have you seen a really good Predator video game outside of that? Because that could be awesome.
There was one on, I think, Super Nintendo that was kind of a beat 'em up that was okay.
Yeah.
That would make a really good... If they were going to... I love the Alien Isolation, but can you imagine doing a Predator Isolation type thing where you're in a jungle type setting on another planet? I thought that could be done really well, especially... Because if you watch the Predators movie that came out, the most recent one, where they're on the alien planet and there's multiple just alien races on that, that give you more things to deal with. So you're not just you're having to deal with the idea, because they did it in Alien Isolation. Not to spoiler alert for that. There's more enemies in that than once you get onto the game than just the one alien. But I think you could do that and you're dealing with an invisible creature predator who could, who's lurking around trying to hunt you, and you're trying to do that, but you're also combating other alien races that are there. I think that would be a fantastic idea.
That would be really awesome. Now, a video game series that I've never played, but I heard that they were shitty. How is there not a good video game based on the Matrix films? Unless there isn't, I don't know, but most of the ones that came out I heard were not good. I feel like that is prime for that.
What was that game called? The Matrix something. But the thing is, everyone was super excited about it, and they loaded up, and they're like, I'm going to play this motherfucker. They're like, what do you mean I can't play as Neo?
Yeah.
Like, that's the only reason.
That's ridiculous.
And I think, the problem with that game is when it first came out, people loved the Matrix so much that they believed in their hearts that game was great.
It was going to be perfect.
And people were telling me, this game's so good. And my friends that were gamers, I remember they're telling me how much they love those games. I remember sitting down and playing and watching them play. I'm like, this is kind of terrible. And they're like, shut your goddamn mouth. This is fantastic. Now you look back at it and they're like, oh yeah, those games are shit.
Yeah. You know what, actually, I remember playing in the arcade that I thought was really awesome back in the day. You remember that side-scrolling...
Terminator 2?
That was cool, the first-person shooter one, but you remember the RoboCop video game?
I did not know that existed.
Oh, there was a side-scroller RoboCop game that was awesome. Now, granted, I probably played it today and it sucked, but when I was a kid, that was the coolest thing I'd ever played. We fucked up, though.
Did we?
Because we forgot about clearly one of the best video games ever adapted from a movie. Inarguable fact. GoldenEye. That was like the... I know you're not too big on first-person shooters, but that was like the first-person shooter to beat.
No, even I played that on 64. That was like the game. If you had 64, that's what you had, and that's what you played. It
was like that in Mario Kart.
And now... everyone's playing online. I remember having a little fucking 19-inch tube TV with 4 people playing in split screen.
Yeah, and you're like basically playing on something that's smaller than a damn iPhone.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know where you are.
But it was so much fun. You just jacked up on Mountain Dew, going crazy, killing the shit out of each other, and, it was awesome.
It's like, oh shit, Johnny's got the golden gun.
Oh, that's when shit was getting real. Actually, I totally forgot about one other thing, too. I was trying to remember. It's not really a video game movie, but it's a movie based about video game stuff that... I'm like one of the few people that's a big fan of. Did you ever see Gamer? That Gerard Butler movie from the guys that directed Crank?
I know of it. I did not get to see it. I didn't hear anything about it.
Here's the thing. It's not like a great movie, but it's a shit ton of fun. It looks like the Crank movies, but it's based on people that like kind of port in and play like video games. But what they do is they take convicts, and the convicts are like they're basically playing like Black Ops and like war games and everything, like in kind of like a simulated world, and like people are jacking into but they're playing with real people, and then people tune in and watch this on TV, and Michael C. Hall, Dexter, is the villain, and it's sort of this delightful level of batshit insanity. It's a fun movie. That one was a big guilty pleasure for me too.
Excellent. Now here's an idea. Now, what do you think? What are some movies that would just make the world's worst video game?
Movies that would make the world's worst video game. Steel Magnolias.
A Serbian film, The Game.
Oh no, I need an adult.
That'd be a handheld device. On Game Boy Color.
The Human Centipede?
That would be on the Wii.
Feed her!
That'd be on the Wii.
Oh.
I guess we have to with the controls.
Yeah, that controller will not be white by the time you're done with it.
Oh no, not at all.
Oh man, yeah, there's got to be a handful.
Requiem for a Dream, the arcade.
Is it? Am I crossing a line to say Schindler's List?
I think that would make an amazing video game.
No, it would not. No, Johnny. Basically, anything by the great Lars von Trier probably would be a bad idea.
Hmm.
Um,
Spring Breakers, the game.
Spring Break. That I'd play that.
I would play
Fuck
that
it.
too.
I totally
would play
would.
that too.
Basically, you're Franco and the girls, and you're just jacking tourists like the whole time. And every time like you get your loot, he's like, "Look at my shit." every time you get level up and get money.
No, that would be perfect.
Oh, come on. Oh man, I feel like we're failing. There's more.
Oh, there's tons. Yeah.
Movies that would be terrible, terrible video games.
Oh.
You know, I don't know. I was like, I heard the Jeopardy music playing in my head, and then I remembered, Jeopardy was a fun game.
Yeah, that was a good one. Those little trivia games were
Those
always,
game show games, yeah.
Yeah, they were always kind of fun. They were a good time to have. I'm trying to think of something that was like that would be like some sort of like Kramer versus Kramer, the fighting game.
Yes. Yes, like Mortal Kombat. Okay, you know what one of the funniest things I ever saw was? Somebody did, it was a comedy video online, I forget what channel it was on, but somebody did an 8-bit video, of There Will Be Blood, the video game. And it was an 8-bit
right.
Nintendo game, and it was fucking perfect.
I've seen those, yeah. They do a whole series of them.
Boogie Nights, there you go. Boogie Nights would be the worst video game.
Like,
or the best.
That's like one of those updated Atari porn games. Like, have you ever seen those?
Custard's Revenge, I know it well. I remember all those. Yeah, that video games got weird for a while back in the day there.
Well, people always say, like, they look now, and I think people are talking like this is going to be the first generation of elderly grandparent video game players. But I think there's been a time when video games have always kind of been marketed to an older genre as well as kids.
Dude, my parents, I remember them telling me that they got Pong as a wedding present. Like back when all it was like that was the one game when the board with the controllers and everything and hooked it in your TV. Like that was like one of their big wedding gifts. I'm like, I'm sure that was cool at the time, but I'm sorry.
No, but I don't know. I guess it's interesting to see all these games. A lot of indie games coming out that are trying to get licensed for movies. So I'm curious to see how much they push this and how much they go from here as far as really trying to establish a good story arc for video game movies.
Yeah, I think I do still stick by my earlier statement that I think that there is a lot of untapped potential. I just would like to see them start doing it right. I actually like to see credit restored to that subgenre. Like someone to do it right to where it's not like a scarlet letter to say, oh, it's a video game movie.
Yeah, when you're explaining that to people, it's like, oh, it's a really good movie. Well, it's based on a video game. It's like, oh, eyes rolled. This is it.
Yeah, like that shouldn't have to be in the same sense. Like now when you say, oh, it's a comic book movie, it's like before it'd be like, oh god, well come on, Batman and Robin, bat nipples, whatever. But now it's like, no, that's legit. Like you can't say that that's like some nerd niche thing. That's mainstream culture. Like it'd be cool if that kind of integrity was brought to that. So it, like I said, it didn't wear this scarlet letter of, oh well, it's a video game movie. So. Maybe one day.
Yeah, and just to wrap it up, I think one of the games that should should be made, that could be made actually interesting, Grand Theft Auto, Dallas Buyers Club.
And mic drop. Yep, well played.
I think that would be a fun one, and you actually get to play as. I want there to be a DLC where you can be multiple Matthew McConaughey's.
Yeah, because it's I want you to be able to play him from any movie just so you can come on, all right.
Yes, that would be perfect. Yes, just a Grand Theft Auto that just is based around his various characters in movies.
I'm going to take this car.
Think about what you can do. You can have, obviously the title one of Dallas Buyers Club. Then we got Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
We could do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in there because he was in one of those. It's like you can.
I'd like to see his Rushed Coal from True Detective. That's the best. I can't really do McConaughey, but from True Detective. That'd be great.
I want to see him from Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I think. That would be probably the perfect game. But that being said, I think that's
no. I want to see him in Killer Joe.
I haven't seen Killer Joe yet.
Oh my god. Okay, I know what we're doing before the next podcast. I'm going to make you watch that movie. You will never look at fried chicken the same again.
It was one of those that I was so excited about because it's the director of The Exorcist, if I'm not mistaken.
William Friedkin, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been really, really excited about seeing it, but then I just never saw it anywhere. I didn't see it on demand. I didn't see it on Netflix or anything. I just never saw it.
It's just fantastic.
I'm
now I'm just going to talk like that all night.
Oh, perfect. Well, all night's not gonna be that long, because I think it's time to get out of here. So,
Indeed.
yeah, but I think it's been a good time here, and we'll check back in with you guys next week, because Movie Night with Johnny Cinema drops every single Friday with one of the grand podcasts we have here at Black Coat Radio, because we also have Zero Lives, a video game podcast, which drops every single Monday. One Sweet Wrestling podcast that will drop on Wednesdays. And now our monthly podcast, the Captain's... you know what? I don't even know what the fuck the name of it is. It's a new one that's the Zero Lives are sponsoring, and it's based off of the guild from Final Fantasy 14, the MMO that they're playing. So so the team, one of the Troy from Zero Lives is he's in a guild there, and they've gotten together and they put together their own show, which they've dropped their first episode this past Saturday, which blew everything out of the water. It has the most listens for us on SoundCloud, so check us out on SoundCloud.
Very nice.
Head over to YouTube, where we're also posting that if you'd prefer to listen to us there. Check us out on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and I guess we will just see you at the movies.
I got a feeling we're not in Brooklyn no more.
Luigi! Sandy! You better not hurt us!
They're brothers. They're plumbers.
Oh no! Mario! Luigi!
They're on the trail of a kidnapped princess and a mystical meteorite.
It's incredible!
That gives anyone who possesses it the power to rule the universe.
Get me the rock! Come and get it, lizard breath!
Now, they must rescue the princess.
Luigi!
Alien species escaping.
And make it safely back.
Later, alligators.
To our world.
Are you alright?
Before time runs out.
Shoot him! Look out, Mario!
Get him! Yes!
No, stop!
Gotcha.
No, not again!
Super Mario Brothers. This ain't no game.